Dante's discussion.
Welcome back to another edition of Dante's Discussion Answers. That's right, where I am back. This time, 3 or so weeks later. Sorry about that, but I get busy and I have a new studio. Look at this. This is incredible. The space is amazing. Look, it's like a real wall of green, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, we're talking about Dark Souls 3. Of course, my question was to you to answer which weapon or weapon move, whatever, has the most ridiculous phantom range. And I gotta say, maybe my questions are getting worse. Maybe I'm getting less popular. And also, I didn't put this on Fextra Life forums because, again, I've been busy and I'm dying. And, you know, you get the whole idea. Everybody has a life. Everybody has... Okay. Anyways, let's start off by saying, not many people say it, but I loved all the response I got, even if there was very few. So this is probably going to be the shortest Dante's Discussion Answers ever. But I'm into it. Why not? Let's do it. Wishy Washy says, straight swords hands down. Nearly every attack they have has extendo range. And they're fast, so it's a nightmare. Well, of course. I don't actually believe this. I believe that there are probably 2 straight swords R1 that are a problem. Dark Sword, and of course the Goddards, because the Goddards are gigantic. They are the biggest longsword out there, and their R1 is ridiculous. And the sweeping, I think L1 when you have it two-handed, or like the weird where you sweep around. The L1 is weird too, how it can hit you, and maybe it's just because it's slow and you panic roll and you get hit. I'm not sure about that, but definitely straight swords, obviously. Yeah, we get it. Next up, we have Kevin Miller. Straight swords have a ton of unexpected phantom range. Hey, it looks like we're back on the same damn thing. But next, after that, we have Andre Stansu. I'll start out by saying that I have played almost 500 hours of PvP on Dark Souls 2, and I've never had a problem with the phantom range, except while playing against Brazilians and Australians. Now, in Dark Souls 3, my major problem and complaint, I guess, about the PvP is the phantom range, even while playing against people with good connections. With that said, the weapon with the most phantom range for me is the straight sword. Second place, I'd say spears, of course. I don't know why that's an of course, because I actually don't think spears have that much of phantom range, except for really the running attack. I would say the running attack has slight phantom range, but again, you know, you gotta know that maybe there's a hitbox there that I could get hit with, obviously, that maybe is a little bit slurpy, if you will. But that is interesting that you say that about Dark Souls 2. There was very few phantom range in Dark Souls 2, I agree. I would say probably daggers had pretty good phantom range, and of course fists in Dark Souls 2, but I think part of that might be because they had, I don't know, servers. What the hell? How can you go up in a number of game and not have servers on something that people still enjoy playing? That is absurd. I don't understand it. Jose said, I'd say the straight sword. To be honest, I use it myself, and sometimes after an R1 combo you can continue with the R2 and can most likely will catch them. You can also roll punish them with an R1 if you behind them. If you are behind them, they are just a bit of a more reliable Karthus curved sword due to having a better moveset while being able to have a shield and actual good R2. Sorry for making it a bit long. It's not long. In fact, it's not even long enough, because that is it. That is literally the last of the people who said anything about this. And I gotta say, I do agree with the R2, at least on the straight sword account. The R2, the poke, is ridiculous with the phantom range, but I don't think the straight sword has the worst phantom range, at least not in my personal opinion. I don't think the Karthus has the worst phantom range, although I will say the running attack is disgusting with curved swords, and especially certain like painted guardians. Like, the fact that that weapon is so small and basically has the hitbox of a Karthus or close, like, that's a phantom range that's pretty ridiculous. And it's so fast and it's so swipey, and you almost don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I fight against people, and the problem is when I fight is I try to be calculated. I try to space so well where I don't need to roll so that I can get the hit in and I can get the advantage. But in certain instances with this phantom range and certain curved swords, you can't do that. You have to roll every time because it's almost unpredictable, and that's crazy. And I don't think that's the case for straight swords, personally. I mean, straight swords really, as far as phantom range, generally doesn't get me. Maybe on a dark sword here or there, but that the connection has to be slightly off for that to happen. If the connection is really good, I don't really notice it as much. But maybe the dark sword a little. I don't know. I actually think there are other things that do have much more phantom range than that, and I would say probably butcher's knife. Well, really most axes actually, especially the what the hell, the small, not the hand axe, but the one that you had the weapon art where you go around, you floop around. If you know what I'm talking about, the stupid it's a tiny one where you had the weapon art where you sidestep. You know what I'm talking about. That one's phantom range is pretty disgusting. Now it sort of needs it though. That's the thing. So I don't really hate it for that, but there are like butcher's knife and man serpent hatchet also has pretty ridiculous range. I'm not sure if it's exactly in the realm of phantom range, but the range is absurd. And then you got certain I would say some daggers, and of course some fists have to have a little bit of phantom range, honestly, because they're so small that if they don't, then what are you gonna do, right? They're almost useless if they don't have it, right? So, and then of course you have not all spears, some spears, and usually on the running attack, but it's mostly goes to the flame gargoyle spear. That's probably the most phantom range, if any. Of course, washing pole, and really a lot of the other katanas, but the running attack of the washing pole obviously has some phantom range. But even more so than that, now the weapon is gigantic, so that's sort of maybe why it could make sense for a lot of people. But when you do the weapon art with that weapon, the attack one, not the parry, that has a lot of phantom range, a lot of like, how the hell did that hit me? Because when you look at it, when you look at the visuals, it's not close and it still hits you. It still hits you. But I mean, there's a lot of weapons. A lot of weapons that have that sort of slorpy phantom range, if you will. The running attack of the Karthus, really the running attack of like Painted Guardians, any of the curved swords, I think they're up there with the axes in their phantom sort of roll catch magic range. But for me personally, maybe the R2 of the straight swords might be third in my book of phantom range ridiculousness. But I probably give slight edge to the curved sword running attack, and then maybe slightly behind just axes in general as far as their R1. Not just the roll catch, but sort of the range of being able to hit certain people, especially with butcher's knife and man serpent. But that's just me. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's quite short, but hey, maybe I'll get more views that way. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do. I'm trying to do what the hell I can. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell anyone you know if anyone likes anything about my face or whatever. And I hopefully will be back.